I remember this so clearly. I was about 32 weeks pregnant with our second child. My husband came home one day from work and he looked a bit pale and a bit off. And I said, "What's wrong, babe?" And he didn't really want to say. I had an appointment that I had to go to. And I just had a feeling, I don't know, intuition, I don't know. I looked at him and I said, "Did you lose your job?" And he just nodded. Now, with his job also was gone our health insurance. And again, I was 2 months out from giving birth. In that moment, you guys, I was bracing myself. I didn't know what was going to happen. Like I was bracing myself to fall into despair. I wasn't sure how I was going to react, but I was tempted to like lose my cool, but I decided to just listen. What's going to come up? How am I going to respond? And I was really surprised to find that I was at peace. I did not go into full panic, which honestly, I used to be so anxious about money. If you would have told me a couple of years ago that, me being very pregnant and my husband loses his job with no more health insurance, that I would have not freaked out, I would have not believed you. So what happened next? That evening, my husband and I sat down. The first thing we did was pray together for wisdom and guidance. And then we ran some numbers and we quickly realized that we had about 6 months of just like cash to continue our current lifestyle. And then about roughly 2 years, if we didn't make any money, before we had all of our savings drained. So just seeing that gave me that kind of confirmed why I had been feeling so peaceful, because even in that moment when my husband told me that he'd lost his job, I knew in the back of my mind, we are actually going to be okay here for a little while. We don't actually have to flip the switch into absolute panic mode. And I was reflecting upon that and just realizing, like, in that moment, I realized what an amazing gift this being on the journey to financial independence was to us and to our family. And at that point, and even now, we hadn't even reached financial independence. But because we'd been on the journey, we were already in a place where things like this, like a job loss, did not send us into a spiral full of panic. Even though I was pregnant and we were going to be out of health insurance, my husband's job loss came very much out of the blue. Neither of us had expected it. The fact that I guessed what was going on is just because I just maybe read his face, or I don't know. But there was no inkling beforehand that was going to happen. The company had to downsize, so he got laid off. Through that whole experience, I got a whole new appreciation and gratitude for my husband's drive to financial independence. I mean, it was really ultimately it was him first starting this and saving money and getting us on the trajectory to financial independence. And I just realized if we hadn't been, if we were living paycheck to paycheck, that would have been so stressful and anxiety inducing. But because we were in the financial situation that we were, and again, you guys, this isn't because we have a 7-figure income or something like that. It's because we have implemented some strategies and small habits and living below our means so that we could start saving up like a nest egg, so that we could eventually come to a point where work is optional and we could live off of our savings. But again, we hadn't even reached that point when this happened, when my husband lost his job. But we were already in a good enough position that, again, it would have been really unfortunate had we had to drain all our savings, but we knew that we weren't in a spot we could breathe, take a breather and plan, and we didn't have to go into panic mode. And that just made me realize that we were already in a pretty good situation. And that's actually not the first time that being on the journey to financial independence has really blessed us. There was actually a situation where, this was when my husband and I were engaged. I'm from overseas, so I was on a visa and there were some complications with my paperwork. So I had to leave the country for a little bit. And my now husband, he was able to quit his job and come to Germany with me for 7 months. He was able to do that because he had lived in a way that he was able to save up money, and his lifestyle, his monthly expenses allowed him to just take 7 months off of work. And it was actually, in the moment, it was a bit stressful having to leave his job and come to Germany with me and figure everything out there. But looking back, it was actually awesome because he got to really know my culture, right? If you live there, You really get to know the culture. You really get to know my family. He now loves every time we visit Germany. He loves it. He has memories there that he's made. And so, ultimately it's really blessed us in our marriage that he has had the opportunity and was we wouldn't have chosen that, but looking back, it was actually really good for us. And we were able to, after we got married in Germany, and then we filed for my green card in Germany. And so then we were able to travel a little bit in Europe before we came back to the US. And so it all worked out. But had he been living paycheck to paycheck, he would have probably not been able to just come to Germany with me, because he also, I should have mentioned that, he also didn't work in Germany. He was just there with me. And so he was able to just enjoy the beer gardens in Germany and the mountains. And if you want to know how you can start your journey to financial independence today, watch this video where I talk about the 5 steps that I would take if I had to start from zero. They're easy, simple steps. Anyone can do them regardless of your income. And until next time, have an awesome week. Bye.